Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys another Overwatch 2 video where today we're going to be talking about Ana's Anti-Nade. Now first off, Overwatch is a really balanced game. I know, as an Overwatch player watching this video that might sound weird to you, but it is. Compare it to other games. Overwatch has 39 playable characters and they are all useful. All usable characters in one way or another. Some more niche, others more universally pickable on a variety of maps. Take a look at the most average skill level where the plurality of people play, Gold. The lowest win rate amongst Gold level PC players is Widowmaker at around 46%. The lowest win rate character in Valorant sits at almost 46%. Lowest win rate character in League of Legends is around 42%. Lowest in Smite is 41%. And in Dota, it's 40%. And of course, in games where it's only about choosing weapons and not a skill set, the disparity has to be far greater between what are the good guns and what are the bad guns. We all know this. And I know all games are different, and some even have ban systems, and Overwatch's ban system is coming as we know. But you must concede that Overwatch is a comparatively very balanced game. So why in the world, I ask you, the viewer, is the most talked about and hated on character in the game Ana, a character whose bottom 5 in win rate across every single skill tier? The reason I submit to you is twofold. One is, of course, Anti-Nade. Two is because the game is as balanced as it is. Is the game of Overwatch perfect? Absolutely not. A, that's impossible, and B, even if it were through some metric, it would never feel that way to the player base. Ever. Because in any game, people will always find something to complain about. Whether it's Discord Orb, Sleep Dart, Extreme Mobility, Healing, Diving, Ults, Glass Cannons, Unkillable Tanks, Suzu, Lamp, One-Shots, Anti-Heal, Roll Passives, Pestering Flankers, Disables, Shields, Swapping. Every single one of these things has had the community up in arms at some point in time, and many will again in the future. Because something is always going to annoy you. You won't win every game, and something will frustrate you. Happens in every game known to mankind. I mean, why can that bishop just move diagonally infinitely anyway? That's OP, right? And yet, some people don't want to take responsibility for a loss either. They are perfect players that are always getting cheated out of their deserved wins. Nothing is their fault. We will always have those people too. So no matter how balanced a game is overall, the community will always put their ire behind something. Right now, it's Anti-Nade. Tomorrow it'll be something else, but today it's Ana's ability, Biotic Grenade. An ability that for 7 years wasn't a problem, but now it is. There was always hate on it, and there always will be, just like One-Shots and Discord Orb. No matter how many times they're nerfed, they will always be hated. But Anti-Nade is hated now more than ever. Why is this? Did it get more value going from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2? No, it did not. Getting Anti'd is less impactful in 5v5. Teams are more spread out in Overwatch 2, and there's one less big-bodied tank to hit, and grouping up in a death ball isn't as valuable / prevalent. Did it get buffed at all? No. Biotic Grenade has actually been nerfed 4 times since the beta of Overwatch 2, with one being reverted, so let's suffice it to say it's been nerfed 3 times. The anti-heal duration went from 4 seconds to 3.5 seconds. The explosion healing was decreased from 100 healing to 60, and the cooldown was increased from 10 seconds to 12 seconds. We didn't hear cries to nerf Anti-Nade when it was stronger. Maybe because there were other things to complain about, and there were of course. But once those got addressed, people needed to find something new. Kiriko was even added to the game and came with an ability, Suzu, that cleanses the anti-heal effect. It also cleanses Sleep Dart, countering both of her abilities because Suzu will do more healing if it cleanses an effect. Not to say that Kiriko is overpowered either, her win rate is barely better than Ana's. But it is a new tool to devalue the Biotic Grenade. And yet, that Biotic Grenade ended up receiving more hate after this tool was added to the game. Again, we had this ability for 7 years without this much outcry, and after nerfing it 3 times and adding an additional way to negate it, it's hated now more than ever. People now, for some reason, think you need the cleanse of Suzu to combat the anti. That you must have Kiriko to counteract the effects of Ana. Both of her cooldowns, by the way. Anti-Nade and Sleep Dart both get negated by Suzu. And it's not the only tool against Bionade either. Winston Bubble can stop it, Zarya Bobble can both stop it and cleanse it after it's already hit a target, Diva's Defense Matrix can eat it, Ramacha's Shield can stop it, Sigma's Shield can stop it, Sigma's Kinetic Grasp can stop it, Reinhardt's Shield can stop it, Brigitte's Shield can stop it, Moira's Fade can cleanse it, Mei's Ice Block can cleanse it, and Ice Wall can also stop it, Reaper Fade can cleanse it, Sombra Translocator can cleanse it, Genji can deflect it, Tracer Recall can cleanse it, and a few more niche things like some ultimates can cleanse or mitigate its effects as well. It's also a slow arcing projectile. Ana can miss it, use it unwisely, or collide with a teammate of hers instead, or being used on herself. Forcing Ana to use a Bionade on herself is not as difficult as a task as you might think. Of the 10 support heroes, only 2 have no movement abilities at all. Ana and Zenyatta. Zenyatta has a kick that has some knockback, and Discord Orb headshots to potentially scare away a would-be flanker or diver, whilst Ana has to hit her Sleep Dart, a skill shot up close with a delayed projectile. Otherwise, she must rely on her teammates to save her before using all of her cooldowns to save herself, and still most likely end up dying for her troubles anyway. She has base health, no shields, and no armor, and no mobility. The only hero in the entire game, by the way, that is like this. She is the only hero within the entirety of the game's roster that has no shield health, no shield, no armor, or mobility. What does she have? Is 2 playmaking abilities in Sleep Dart and Bionade. They're not just useful tools, but absolutely a necessity for her not to be a terrible hero. All of her power is in skill shots. Her primary fire is a hit scan heal or damage if it strikes an enemy. Alongside this is her nade and single friendly target ultimate to combine for her healing output, as well as mitigation damage with the ultimate. A healing output that is in the bottom 4 at every single skill tier. She's also in the bottom 4 at every single skill tier for both damage and eliminations. And from gold and above, she's bottom 4 in KDA. So she's not anywhere near the top of healing, damage, eliminations, or surviving. And let's not forget win percentage either. Again, also bottom 4 in the support role. Well then, you may ask, why then is she the most picked hero in Overwatch according to Blizzard? Good question, and I'm glad you asked. That you can figure out with simple, pure numbers. You can only have 1 tank, and there's currently 12 of them, so that role, of course, will have the lowest pick rates. That's easy to figure out. You have 2 damage characters, and there is 17 of them. And you have 2 support characters with only 10 to choose from. So, of course, the most picked support is going to be the most picked overall. In fact, the top 3 most picked characters are supports, which again, makes a lot of sense purely based on simple math. Ana, Mercy, and Kiriko are the top 3 most picked characters in the game. Then the damage characters start getting into the mix, starting with Soldier 76. Again, very simple. So then you might counter that because Ana's pick rate is so high, her win rate and stats get hurt by that many people of various skill levels playing her and lowering her overall results. A fair assumption, but again, that remains a fallacy. You can see the logic behind it. Brigitte, for example, has the 2nd lowest pick rate among supports, but sports the highest win rate as of right now. So clearly, that must mean that Brig players are most certainly specialists. Not necessarily. Brigitte does play very differently than other supports and requires more knowledge from, say, a new player to start having success with. She's harder to pick up and scares some people off. But let's take a look at other heroes to see if there's actually a pattern. Soldier 76 is the most picked damage character right now, and also sports the 5th highest win rate amongst damage characters. Genji is the 2nd most picked and sports the 6th highest win rate out of, again, 17 damage heroes. Widowmaker is the 6th most overall picked damage character, and yet has the 2nd lowest overall win rate in the entire game. Reinhardt is the most picked tank in the game, and has the 2nd highest win rate of tanks in the game. The least picked tank is Wrecking Ball, and he has the 4th lowest win rate. Not good, yet above Zarya, Orisa, and Winston, and that's mostly consistent throughout every skill tier as well. So no, the data does not back up that Ana's numbers are low because of a high pick rate either. So, why do people pick her so much, Mr. YouTuber? Well, first of all, Mr. YouTuber, that's my father's name. Secondly, because she's fun. It's a video game. People like having fun. You think Genji is the 2nd most picked DPS because he's the 2nd easiest to learn? No, he's picked so much because people think he's fun. He's unique. He's a cyborg ninja. He throws shurikens and he has a sword. Do Wrecking Ball players play him because he's meta? No, they find him fun to play. He's a little guy rolling around. Is Widow the 5th most picked DPS in quick play because people win with her? No, she has the 2nd lowest win rate in quick play. People just like the challenge and satisfaction of clicking heads. Ana has a hit scan that does low heals and low damage and has 2 playmaker cooldowns. She's pure skill expression. What is wrong with having a character whose power resides in skill shots, having good positioning, and making smart decisions? Ana isn't an easy heal bot, she's not unkillable, and she's not an unstoppable damage hose. She's skill expression and a support character, and that is something people do have a problem with. Role bias is a factor here. Many people hate a support that can outplay them just because they are a support. So many people believe that the support role should be the weakest role, with the most useless heroes. But why? Every game with roles is different. In some, the DPS is where most of the power resides. In others, it's tanks, or maybe crowd control characters, some sort of tech characters, or healers, but you always need the right combo at the right place at the right time to win. When the damage or tank role has a really strong character, they probably get some hate, and sometimes rightfully, but not nearly as much as when a support character is strong. Ever notice that? Support characters always get the most hate. They're always expected to heal everyone, everywhere, all at once. The vast majority of players are damage mains. We know this, and it's easy to see why. The damage role is the most popular role to take in every game I've ever seen, with no exceptions. So damage will never be the most hated, because it's what most people play. Tanks have the most responsibility, and there's only one of them, so they do get a lot of ire, but it's often blamed on the healers for being the reason that a tank dies. Supports are viewed as easier, not as skillful, and yes, I'm gonna say it, people view support as a more feminine-oriented role, and anything that is associated with women will always draw more vitriol. That's the way it is, and I'm not going to dig into exactly why this is, but we all know it's the truth. Men see or hear a woman playing Overwatch or many other games, and assume that they are playing healing or support roles, and often chastise them if they have the audacity to play any other role. People already blame supports for not saving them from themselves, and men will always feel more comfortable attacking a woman online than a man because they think they are less likely to fight back. People think support is the least important and least skillful role, and yet, for a good stretch, Ryu Jae-hong was considered the best player in the world, an Ana player at that. Then Overwatch League comes around, and who's the very first MVP? Jonak, a support player, a Zenyatta main for those who don't remember. So people have to get past their bias against support players and characters in the first place. They already get most of the blame. Give them the respect you give the other roles. Now, a lot of the Anti-Nade hate comes from what it does in certain matchups. That Ana quote-unquote counters characters. You hear people throw that word around a lot, counter. People use the word incorrectly 99% of the time, but it's the word that's been chosen, so we'll use it within this context. People certainly don't have a problem with other counters in the game, which is interesting. Nobody seems to care that Reaper, Bastion, Roadhog, and Mauga completely counter Winston, like hardcore deleted from the game all by themselves, and many of them at that, but I digress. Ana doesn't counter characters. She punishes mistakes. Ana's strength resides in her ability to punish mistakes very hard. Catching someone out of position, taking advantage of a heavily telegraphed move, or just completely leaving themselves open. Maybe playing Pharah against a Bastion and a pocketed Ashe isn't a good idea. Maybe playing Doomfist and diving into 5v1s every fight isn't a great idea. And maybe playing super slow and predictable against an Ana isn't a great idea either. Ana doesn't counter Roadhog. She punishes bad Roadhogs, or at the very least, their misplays. Since Roadhog's rework, he doesn't have much to fear from Ana right now. His take a breather doesn't go on cooldown, so interrupting it with a sleep dart isn't a big deal. He merely gets up and goes back to taking a breather again. Anti-Nade still hurts him, and as he is the only tank without an ability to block it or have movement abilities to get away from it, but his take a breather also provides damage reduction even if it isn't healing, so his matchup has improved in 2 ways specifically against Ana. All Roadhog needs to do, maybe, is get a hook and kill an enemy, and then their team wins the fight from there. That's his strength. He has no movement himself, but he's engineered to shut it down. He doesn't have a shield, but he can face tank so much damage. The drawback being, he's vulnerable to some things like being an easy target to hit for things like Sleep Dart or Biotic Grenade. That's the balanced aspect of his kit. And if you're sending it down mid with everyone standing behind the hog just for him to get antied and blown up, then guess what? You lost that fight. Try again. Maybe don't make it so easy next time. Ana has that advantage against his straightforward playstyle. Maybe learn to play hog better, make things easier for your hog, make things harder for their Ana, or play a different tank if it's too hard for you. If you're playing tank, you should know how to play more than one at the level you're at. And it's not just the tank versus Ana, you have your own supports that should be helping out. Life gripping, immortality field, Suzu, res, CCing the enemy away, speed boosting you to safety, or speed boosting you right into a vulnerable enemy. Your supports can help you in many ways that don't even heal you. And your damage characters can do much more than just stand behind you and hope something dies. The damage roll has so much freedom to move, so many angles to pressure out the Ana, if not downright kill her. Maybe you aren't getting help in any of these ways that I've mentioned, and you would have lost even if you did switch to Reinhardt, let's say. Or maybe your teammates would have synergized better with that Reinhardt, or Zarya, or Junker Queen, or whatever. It's up to you and your teammates to win a fight. Ana isn't doing it by herself. She can't. She's not that powerful, and the stats back that up. She's getting help from something. Something is enabling her to get value. And maybe ignoring her isn't the best answer in some cases. And Ana also has a huge potential for making misplays. She doesn't get value out of one or both of her cooldowns, and she becomes one of the most useless heroes in the game. Again, no mobility, no shields, no armor, no easy heals, no burst heals, no AoE heals, no invincibility, no escape tool, no amazing ult for her to rely on, just aim and decision making. That's all she's got after that. So she better make those cooldowns count, and there's plenty that can go wrong. If Ana plays too close, she can get blown up and be out of the fight. If she's too far away, which she can get away with due to her range, she can be more easily flanked, dove on, or caught out. She'll need her other support to protect her, which gives you a potential opening without even killing the Ana. Or maybe she'll be forced to make a quick and good decision in order to thwart the attack, which then forces her cooldowns out, again, without even killing the Ana. Even at the highest levels of play, where Ana players know how to play her and maximize on her strengths, she still has the second lowest win rate out of all the supports in Grandmaster. Mercy is picked more and has a higher win rate than Ana. So if a hero that is built out of pure skill expression struggles at the level where that's supposed to matter the most, then why does she need to be nerfed? If you rely on getting double pocketed by your healers and you're just standing there waiting to magically win your war of attrition, and a well-placed nade ruins that engagement for you, then I'm sorry, the nade wasn't the issue. You need to do something. Play the game and don't just stand there like the British Army single file waiting to get picked off. Don't play like you're immortal because you aren't. Do something. Relying on big healing might not always be the best for you, because healing might be lowered in the game, as we've been told. We've also essentially been told that Ana's Bionic Grenade is getting a nerf. It's coming, because people have complained about it loudly, and the developers tend to always listen to the big complaints and make a change. Whether the change is good or not, the community's voice is heard, and more often than not, acted upon. The annoying effects of being antied isn't a reflection of Ana's kit, but of players relying on easy things and slow things and straightforward things that make them feel safe. And if you're a player that's good enough to not do these things, then Ana and Anti-Nade isn't a problem for you, just as she isn't for the majority of players for the majority of the time. And just to be completely transparent, yes, I play Ana. I mostly play support, and Ana is my most played support, and I played her the majority of the time to rank my way up to Grandmaster. So does me having extensive experience of playing Ana mean I have no idea what I'm talking about? Some people who don't play support would say yes, and they are entitled to their opinion, just as you, the viewer, are entitled to yours. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.